Hello, dear listener. Today we will embark on a journey through the history of one of the greatest leaders Israel has ever known, Joshua, the lawgiver and commander chosen by God to lead the people to the Promised Land. Get ready, because this is a story full of faith, obedience, miracles, and incredible battles. Let's explore together how God transformed a faithful servant into a conqueror of nations and hero of Israel. Welcome to the story of Joshua, the one chosen by Moses. To understand Joshua, we need to go back a little in time. Joshua did not begin his journey as a leader. He was first and foremost a servant. His original name was Hosea, which means salvation. However, it was Moses who, inspired by God, changed his name to Joshua, which means the Lord is salvation, a name that would reflect its fundamental role in the history of the people of Israel. Joshua was from the tribe of Ephraim and was a direct disciple of Moses. When the Israelites were still wandering in the desert, he was already a reliable warrior. One fact that many forget is that Joshua was one of the 12 spies sent by Moses to spy out the land of Canaan. While most of the spies returned with a negative report filled with fear and discouragement, Joshua and Caleb were different. They saw the challenges, but they saw the power of God above all else. It was this unshakable faith that set him apart. Joshua had the courage to see beyond difficulties, trusting in divine promises. And it is precisely this trust in the Lord that would make him the natural successor of Moses. The death of Moses and the mission of Joshua. When Moses left to be with the Lord, a leadership transition took place. One can imagine the weight on Joshua's shoulders. How could he replace Moses, the man who spoke face to face with God? Fear and insecurity certainly knocked at the door of his heart. But at that crucial moment, God spoke directly to Joshua. Be strong and of good courage. Do not be amazed or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1 verse 9. This divine promise would be a milestone in Joshua's life. He was now charged with leading the people on the greatest mission of all, the conquest of the Promised Land. It would not be an easy task, for the cities were fortified and the enemy peoples were powerful. But Joshua knew that with God ahead, victory was already assured. The crossing of the Jordan. The first major test of Joshua's command was the crossing of the Jordan River. Just as Moses had opened the Red Sea, now Joshua stood before a great miracle. The Jordan River was overflowing on its banks, but Joshua commanded the people to sanctify themselves, for God would do wonders in their midst. When the priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant touched the waters of the Jordan, something extraordinary happened. The waters were divided, and the people crossed on dry land. That was a clear sign that God was with Joshua, just as he had been with Moses, and the people feared and respected their new leader. When they reached the other side, Joshua ordered 12 stones to be taken from the bottom of the Jordan as a memorial. That crossing was not only a physical act, but also a spiritual milestone. The people were leaving behind the desert and entering a new age, the age of conquest. The Conquest of Jericho. And then came the moment that many know, the famous Battle of Jericho. Jericho was a fortified city considered impassable. Its walls were gigantic, and any attempted invasion seemed futile to human eyes. But Joshua did not trust human strategies. He followed the divine instructions, even if they seemed strange. God commanded the people to march around the city for 6 days, once a day in silence. On the 7th day they were to march 7 times, and at the end give a great shout. This strategy made no sense at all from a military point of view, but Joshua obeyed. And on the 7th day, after the sound of the trumpets and the cry of the people, something supernatural happened. The walls of Jericho have fallen completely. The city was given into the hands of the Israelites. The campaign of conquest of the earth. After Jericho, Joshua led the people in a series of battles. The military campaign was intense. Some enemies were quickly defeated, as at Ai, where, after an initial setback due to Achan's sin, the Israelites defeated the city. Other kingdoms united against Joshua, such as the 5 Amorite kings. But in each of these situations, God was at the forefront of the battles. One of the most striking scenes of Joshua's campaign was when he prayed for the sun and moon to stop, giving Israel more time to defeat their enemies. And God heard Joshua's prayer, and the sun stood still in the sky. It was a miracle never seen before, and a proof of God's power through his chosen leader. Joshua was not only a man of war, he was also a lawgiver. He guided the people in how to distribute the land among the tribes of Israel, establishing laws and parameters to ensure that God's promise to Abraham was fulfilled fairly. Here we see a profound lesson. Obedience to God is the key to victory, even when we don't understand his ways. God works in the supernatural, and when we follow his directions, miracles happen. The last days in old age, after having led the people for many years, Joshua gathered the elders and leaders of Israel for his last words. He knew his time was coming to an end, but he wanted to leave a clear legacy. He reminded the people of God's promises and the mighty deeds they had witnessed. But he also warned them, "Choose today whom you will serve. But I and my house will serve the Lord." Joshua 24:15. Joshua understood that even after all the victories, the real challenge was in the hearts of the people, in their faithfulness to God. Joshua's story is a true inspiration. He shows us that when we put our trust in God, no wall is too big and no battle is impossible. Joshua not only led Israel in wars but also guided them spiritually, reminding them that faithfulness to the Lord is the way to true victory. Like Joshua, we can trust that God is with us in every challenge, always guiding and strengthening us. May we, day after day, choose to follow the example of this great leader and say like him, "I and my house will serve the Lord." Joshua 24:15. Now, if you have been blessed by this amazing story, don't forget to leave your like, comment below what touched you the most, and of course subscribe to the channel so as not to miss more uplifting videos like this one. Activate Tinkerbell to be notified whenever new content is released. God bless you, and until the next video.